Hello and welcome back to Roll NYC Gaming. We are happy to have you back for another Warhammer 40,000 Battle Report. Today, we'll be starting a campaign from the brand new Tyrannic War Crusade book. However, since we don't have Tyranids on the channel yet, you'll be seeing the Deathwatch Space Marines facing off against the Necrons of the Awakened Dynasty. We are excited to play, so let's just jump right into the army lists and the mission rules. Today's mission is the first mission from the Crusade book, known as Rotting Biomass. At the end of each battle round, you score 5 victory points for each of the following conditions met: holding 1 objective, holding 2 objectives, and holding more objectives than the enemy. Also, if you kill the enemy warlord by the end of the battle, you'll also score 15 victory points. That about does it for the mission rules. Now, let's jump into the army lists and see who's doing battle today. First off, the Deathwatch gain access to the Space Marine specific rule Oath of Moment, which allows them to choose a target at the beginning of their command phase, and their entire army gets to reroll hits against them. The Deathwatch also have access to mission tactics from the Black Spear Task Force, which give them once per battle abilities to enhance their entire force, allowing them to gain sustained hits, lethal hits, or precision on critical hits. The Deathwatch are led by their warlord, the Captain in Terminator armor, wielding a Thunderhammer and Storm Shield. He leads a 5-man squad of Assault Terminators, also with Thunderhammer and Storm Shields. There is also a Librarian in Terminator armor, leading a 5-man Relic Terminator squad, with 1 Reaper autocannon included. There is a Judicar leading a 6-man Blade Guard veteran squad, and, rounding out the list, it wouldn't be a Deathwatch list without some actual Deathwatch models. A 5-man Deathwatch veteran squad with a Thunderhammer, Frag Cannon, Infernus Heavy Bolter, and 2 bolt guns with melee weapon combos included. And for their opponents, the Necrons of the Awakened Dynasty. Their army rule, Command Protocols, gives any unit led by a character +1 to hit. The entire force also has access to Reanimation Protocols, which allows all Necrons units to regain lost wounds or models in their own command phase. Keep an eye out for the Overlord and Lich Guard, as they are able to reanimate in their enemy's command phase as well. Next up, the Necrons army list. With both forces sitting around 950 points, the Necrons are fielding a much bigger list than the fairly elite Deathwatch. Their force is led by their warlord, the Overlord with the Resurrection Orb. He leads a dangerous 10-man squad of Lich Guard with swords and shields. This unit is a tough one to put down. There is also a Locust Lord leading a deadly 6-man squad of Scorpic Destroyers. And to fill out the list and the board, there are 30 Necron warriors in total, 1 10-man unit with long-ranged Gauss Flares, and a big 20-man unit of Gauss Reapers. Now let's take a quick look at the battlefield and the deployment before we get this battle underway. After a roll-off, the Necrons were the defenders, and so they deployed their first unit first. After another roll-off, the Necrons rolled higher, and so they go first. So let's go into Necrons round 1. It's a quick first round for the Necrons, as they move up to claim objectives 1, 2, and 3. However, their guns aren't quite in range yet, and neither are their swords. So that's the end of their round. We'll hop over into Deathwatch round 1. Deathwatch move up, but they have a tall order ahead, as the Necrons already have excellent board control, as they control 3 objectives. The Blade Guard and the Judicar do claim Objective 4, and the Deathwatch prepare their weapons for an inevitable conflict next round. To get the action started, the Librarian and the Relic Terminators open fire on the Reapers, killing 7. In response, the Reapers spend 1 command point to utilize Protocol of the Undying Legions. That allows them to reanimate 6 models. The Deathwatch veterans follow up with another attack, killing 4 Reapers. With only a few Reapers dead, there's no battle shock to worry about, and no charges to make. That is the end of the first round. Since all points in this battle are scored at the end of each round, the Necrons score 15 primary points to the Deathwatch's 5. Let's see how round 2 goes as we jump into it. In their command phase, the Reapers reanimate 5 models, bringing their unit back to full strength. The Necrons continue to move up the board, putting themselves in a strong position to hold down the objectives. As the Reapers move up, the Terminators spend 1 command point to overwatch them, killing 4. The Flayers open fire at the Blade Guard, but deal no damage. Next, the Reapers unload into the Terminators, dealing 6 damage and killing 2 of them, despite the Terminators using 1 command point for Armor of Contempt. Then the Scorpic Lord and the Destroyers charge into the Blade Guard, but deal no damage with the Crimson Harvest ability. Utilizing the Judicar's Tempor Mortis ability and the Blade Guard's Swords of the Imperium ability, they deal 4 damage to the Scorpic Lord and kill 3 Destroyers. In response, the Destroyers use 1 of their command points for Protocol of the Undying Legions to reanimate 1 of their models. They then attack, activating 1 of their plasma sights, and they kill 4 Blade Guard in the process. Dealing heavy damage to both the Blade Guard and the Relic Terminator squad, the Necrons strike hard and make their presence known on the battlefield. That being said, we can now safely move into Deathwatch Round 2. In their command phase, the Blade Guard succeed on their battle shock, and the Deathwatch put Oaths of Moment on the Scorpic Destroyers, as well as activating Fury Tactics, giving the entire army sustained hits 1. The Assault Terminators change course, heading for the Scorpics to help take back their home objective, while the Terminators and the Deathwatch veterans move up to engage the Reapers. The Reapers fire Overwatch at the Terminators, but unfortunately deal only 1 damage. The Deathwatch veterans open fire on the Reapers, killing 7 this time. The Necrons use their last command point to use Protocol of the Undying Legion on the Reapers, reviving 4 of them. The Blade Guard veterans shoot the Destroyers, dealing 1 damage, and the Terminators shoot the Reapers, killing 3. Then the Assault Terminators, the Relic Terminators, and the Deathwatch veterans all complete charges into their targets. The Assault Terminators, led by their captain, absolutely wipe out the Destroyers. Greatly benefiting from Oaths of Moment, the Judicar then kills the Scorpic Lord with 6 devastating wounds. On the charge, the Terminators fight first into the Reapers, killing 7. Deathwatch veterans then pile in and finish off the remaining 3 Reapers, securing the objective for the Deathwatch. While the Deathwatch may have punched back, the Necrons do have a lead on the scoreboard. Can the Deathwatch close the gap? Let's find out in round 3. Realizing they have the lead and that they only need 2 objectives at this point to win, the Necrons move into a defensive position, ready to secure their 2 objectives for the rest of the battle. The Flayers shoot at the Deathwatch veterans, hoping to whittle down the enemy troops, but only deal 1 damage at this point. There's no fighting or no charging this round, and at the end of the fight phase, the Deathwatch spend 1 CP on Teleportarium to relocate the Assault Terminators and their captain. Another quick but tactical round for the Necrons as they continue to sit on their 25 to 15 point lead. Let's go ahead into round 3 for the Deathwatch and see what they can do to even the score. In their command phase, the Deathwatch place Oaths of Moment on the Lich Guard as they prepare to strike. The Deathwatch veterans shoot at the Flayers, killing 4. as it is absolutely mandatory to hold that point. The Necron spends 1 command point on Protocol of the Undying Legion to res the 4 flayers that were just killed. The Relic Terminators follow up with their guns, killing 2 flayers in the process. The Assault Terminators and their captain make their charge into the Lich Guard, thanks to a reroll from their leader. The Assault Terminators spend 1 command point for Adaptive Tactics to give the squad critical precision hits. They're able to deal 4 damage to the Overlord and kill 2 Lich Guard. The Overlord and the Lich Guard fight back. The Overlord spends 1 command point on Epic Challenge to give himself precision hits. The Captain takes 3 damage, and the Terminators take 6, killing 1 and wounding 1. With a desperate back-and-forth battle for the objective, this is the end of round 3. The Necrons have 35 points, the Deathwatch score 25. A lot of this comes down to who can take that objective, and who can kill the leader. Let's see what happens in round 4. Both forces receive 1 CP, and in the Necron's command phase, the Lich Guard resurrect 2 models, the Flayers resurrect 2 models, and the Overlord also heals, thanks to reanimation protocols. The Flayers shoot their guns again, and unfortunately, still deal no damage to the Deathwatch veterans. With their adaptive tactics still in effect, the Assault Terminators and their captain fight first, killing 2 Lich Guard and dealing 3 damage to the Overlord. You guessed it, Necrons spend 1 CP for Protocol of the Undying Legions on the Lich Guard, resurrecting 2, bringing the squad back to full strength. The Overlord fights next, killing 1 Terminator. The Lich Guard then fight, and the Assault Terminators use Armor of Contempt thanks to the free stratagem from their captain, but only deal 1 damage thanks to amazing 3-up saves. At the end of the fight phase, the Deathwatch spend their 1 CP, again Teleportarium, to relocate the Relic Terminators closer to the Lich Guard. For now, the score remains unchanged as both sides fight desperately for that objective. Let's go into Deathwatch, round 4. In their command phase, the Deathwatch place Oaths of Moments once again on the Lich Guard, and activate Purge tactics, giving them precision critical hits. Here, I have a question for the community. The Overlord has a Resurrection Orb. The Lich Guard don't need to resurrect because they already have a full squad, but does he heal since it's the enemy command phase? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, the never-ending shootout continues as the Deathwatch veterans shoot and kill 2 Flayers. With a chance to truly cripple the squad, the Relic Terminators shoot the Flayers, but only kill 1. Back to the main battle, the Relic Terminators complete a charge after spending a command point. The charging Terminators fight first, killing 1 Lich Guard and dealing only 1 damage to the Overlord, thanks to a reroll save that keeps him alive. The Lich Guard and the Overlord fight into the Assault Terminators, killing 2 and wounding 1. The lone Assault Terminator and his captain fight and kill 3 Lich Guard and finish off the Overlord. Losing the Overlord is a devastating blow that will score the Deathwatch some points. However, the Necrons do still control that objective with the Lich Guard, so both sides score 10 points. The score is now 45-35, going into the final round. The Lich Guard's only chance is to kill that captain and even the score. In the Necron's command phase, the Lich Guard reanimates 1 model, and the Flayers reanimate 3, putting them back at full strength. The Flayers shoot once again at the Deathwatch veterans and finally bring down a model. Jumping right into the fight phase, the Assault Terminator and Captain fight first, killing 2 Lich Guard in the process. Refusing to surrender any ground, the Lich Guard spend 1 command point on Protocol of the Undying Legion, resing 1 model. The Lich Guard then fight, finishing off the last Assault Terminator, and dealing 2 damage to the Captain, who survives with 2 wounds thanks to a free Armor of Contempt stratagem. The Librarian and the Relic Terminators fight into the Lich Guard, killing 2, and claiming the objective for their forces. In a pivotal back-and-forth battle, that ends round 5, sealing this game. Deathwatch still have 35s to the Necron's 45, but the Lich Guard will be unable to kill the Captain going forward, which will secure the final score. In round 5, the Deathwatch keep the Oaths of Moment on the Lich Guard, and activate Malice tactics, giving the army lethal hits. Blade Guard or Deathwatch veterans don't move and don't bother shooting. However, the captain falls back out of combat, preventing the Lich Guard from taking him. The Lich Guard do fight first and are able to kill one Terminator. Firmly hammering the nail into the proverbial coffin, the Terminators fight, killing 3 Lich Guard and securing the point for good. And that is the end of round 5. The Deathwatch hold 3 points to the Necrons 1. Let's look at the scoreboard. In a nail-biter of a game, the Deathwatch finish off the score with 65 to the Necrons 50. Killing the Overlord and failing to kill the Captain in Terminator armor is what ultimately spelled the Necrons' doom. And losing that objective at the end didn't help, but still. Because they didn't kill that Captain, even if they held that objective, they would have still lost by 5 points. The game was that close. So that does it, folks. This is your host, David, from Roll NYC, and I would like to once again thank you for joining us for this Warhammer 40,000 Battle Report. There will be more and more content from our channel coming soon, including more Warhammer 40k, Age of Sigmar, Dungeons & Dragons, and a playback of Baldur's Gate 3 on PC. Check back soon to see what the channel has for you. Until we meet again, happy rolling!